Welcome to the Murfreesboro.com podcast, where we talk about all things Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Join host John I. Carey, his co-host Jonathan Harmon, and producer Trent Denson as they talk about all the great things happening in our city. From construction updates to local business spotlights to all the amazing events happening in our community. Listen in for all you need to know from Murfreesboro.com. Welcome to the show.
Hey everybody, how you doing? Thanks for tuning in again. Welcome back to the Murfreesboro.com podcast. John I. Carey here, Jonathan Harmon over here. Now, I'm going to call you Doctor, if that's all right.
Okay, sure.
Dr. Urban, or Dean, or we'll get more to that.
Let me do that part.
So you do that part.
This is Dr. David Urban, who is the Dean of the College of Business at Middle Tennessee State University. My alma mater, John's alma mater.
Yes,
and in fact, alum of the College of Business, so bachelor's degree and master's degree. And you came in, I think, right as I was finishing. Wait, maybe not. When did you start?
I started in 2013.
Nope, I was long gone. Never mind. Yeah. So finally,
so was I at that point.
It took me 8 years to get out of there, but I was long gone by then.
Yeah.
So, but gotten to know you, met you in a few different places. You've got Carolyn Tumbleson over there that makes sure that you're accessible to alumni and just the community at large. And we'll start this way, and then we're going to backtrack a little bit because I want to hear more about you. But one of the things that has happened since you've joined faculty and since you've taken the helm there at the College of Business, it has just exploded, the dynamicism that you have brought in there, and the I don't know, just it's like I feel like there's the boss that says, okay, we're going to do this because this is the way we've always done it. And then there's the boss that says, oh, you want to try something new? Great, go for it.
Right.
But you're in charge of it.
Right.
That's a great idea. Go do it.
Yeah.
And
in your court. Go for it.
Yeah, and I feel like you've done that. There's just so much going on in the College of Business. And typically you say College of Business, and it's like, oh, okay, College of Business. But that is just not the case with you guys right now, is it?
Well, one of the best things I think you can do when you're in a leadership position is put good people in the right positions and then get out of their way.
That's right.
And that's one of the things that we've tried to do. And I've got some great people. And you mentioned Carolyn Tumbleson, who's done an outstanding job for us in development and outreach. And we got so many others who have performed just amazingly since I've been the dean over the last 8 years. So, the other thing about it, though, is that I think any organization, I don't care what kind of organization it is, whether it's a business, a nonprofit organization, a government organization, doesn't really matter. You really have to be thinking about continuous quality improvement.
For sure.
And no matter how good things seem to be, I think it's important to say, okay, well, how can we go to the next level? How can we raise the bar? And one of the things I've always admired about great companies that I've studied over the years is that great companies, even in the absence of really strong competition, always ask themselves, how can we raise the bar on ourselves? How can we do better? And I think that's an important guidepost. It's a requirement for us from our accrediting body in business, but I think that type of culture, that attitude, that philosophy is what really contributes, I think, to a dynamic organization, and that's what we've tried to achieve.
Well, and I feel I was actually a graduate assistant at the time of accreditation. I don't know what year was that? 2000
probably
something.
2011 maybe.
No, it was even before that.
2006 then.
That sounds probably better.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was leading up to that, so it would have been like 2004. So kind of getting in this process. But there's and this happens all over the place, and it's not just MTSU, and it's not even just at the collegiate level. But when you have a thing that you have to do, an accreditation, whatever, almost always the mindset is, all right, what's the minimum standard we can do? Oh, this is such a burden. How do we get through this? And I just get the impression that that's not the case for you guys now. There may be one or two things where it's like, okay, we got to check this box. But for the most part, you do what you do, and what you do blows away the accreditation process. It's just a matter of documenting and reporting.
Yeah, we've made significant progress in, I've had 2 accreditation visits here at MTSU. One was in 2016 and then one just this past March. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that was the most gratifying was that the team that came in March made a statement in their report that said, it is very clear that the Jones College of Business and MTSU have made substantial progress in the last 5 years. This is noticeable and commendable. And I thought, well, there you go.
I just got chills,
There
man.
you go.
That's my homies.
That's what we want.
I apologize, didn't mean to, but I was going to say something about what you said earlier. Is we get a lot of emails from a lot of the different departments at MTSU, and it's almost like every other one. When we turn around and we make the posts to the public on our website and different things, it's kind of a joke now. It's like, oh, here we go again, MTSU raising the bar. Check out what they're doing, and you're always doing something. Not only, like you said, to raise the bar, but you're doing some cool stuff too.
Exactly.
And things that, I look at it, I'm going, wow, that's really interesting. And we can get more of those later, but it's just really neat how, like you said, raise the bar. And it's almost like every other time we make a post, here we go again. They're stepping it up, so.
Well, and I think that you look at just history and the College of Business, not at MTSU, but just in general, right? All of your comprehensive universities have some type of a College of Business. Mm-hmm. And it's almost like, okay, we're going to open a university. We got to, have some teachers here. We're probably going to have some kind of a nursing program. We got to have some psychology, got to have some science, and we got to have some business. And it's like, okay, we got all of that. And, we're a university. Well, you guys have just said, yeah, but we're not just part of the university. Like we're a standout piece of that. And, you hear Belmont, the Massey School, some of those. And they have phenomenal, like highly accredited, highly rated, touted, whatever you want to say, colleges of business. And you guys are right there with them at significantly less cost.
Well, and I think that's, when we think about the definition of value, what's a good value? Well, it's really the trade-off between cost and benefits, right?
That's right.
You want a lot of benefit for relatively low costs. And I think that's really what we have at MTSU,
but you don't
Jones
Sacrifice.
College. No,
that's the thing is there's not a sacrifice. There might used to have been, but there's not a sacrifice when you choose MTSU.
We had some people who helped us to prepare for our most recent accreditation visit, and these guys, they're 2 fellows who are retired now. They were both deans at different business schools. One of them was the dean for several years at Ole Miss. The other one was a dean for several years at Clemson. And the guy from Clemson ended up working for the accrediting body as the vice president in charge of accreditation for the whole organization. That's how I got to know him. And,
so he kind of knew some things.
Yeah, a few.
Just a few.
And so they came in last November, and they ran us through kind of a dry run. Mm-hmm. And it was really helpful because, they pointed out some things that really helped us make our case even stronger. And they're actually coming back this week and next week to do some management retreats for us as we kind of gear up for 5 years down the road, right? Mm-hmm. But one of them, after all was said and done, he sent me an unsolicited email, and he said, I thought I knew your college because I had been familiar with it for 20 years. He said, but I really didn't know anything about what you guys are doing. He said, I had no idea you guys are as good as you are.
That's awesome.
And he didn't have to say that. I mean, it was just it was gratifying though to get that type of validation for the things that we're doing. And that's the kind of stuff that keeps me excited. I don't want to just sit around and do the same thing all the time. I mean,
sure.
I'm looking, what's going to get me out of bed in the morning, what's going to get me fired up every day. And I've got a lot of people who feel the same way. And so it's very gratifying. The other thing about it is, when we think about, we always use the term national prominence and regional dominance. And, when I came here, we started talking about that a lot. And I thought we had a pretty good leg up on the regional dominance piece because, we're the biggest guys in the room. If you think about the universities that serve the Middle Tennessee region, there is not a college of business that contributes more management talent to the businesses in this region than Jones College at MTSU. It's not even close.
Right.
But, you know, the one thing I really wanted to do was to focus more on getting the word out, getting some national recognition. I mean, when I came here 8 years ago, we didn't have any national rankings for Jones College of Business. Now we've had 14.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
In the top 50 or better, and 8 of those have been just in the last 2 years, including number 1 ranking nationally for our risk management and insurance program, which
No kidding.
which is really pretty awesome. I mean, it's and so, you know, we're you know, it reminds me of you know, when Kermit Davis was our basketball coach at MTSU, and
Bless his heart.
and we went to and you know,
I hope you heard that.
and we went to
We-
we went to
anyway.
Michigan State. We beat Michigan State, and then the next year we beat Minnesota in the NCAA tournament and all that stuff. And you know, we were talking about that, and you know, and I said, you know, there is so much value that comes out of this type of national recognition. It really gets people, you know,
When
to
we
take
beat
notice.
Michigan State, Dr. Feed talks about this all the time. We were the number 1 trending on Twitter for it was something. It was what, like an hour and a half or something. We were the number 1 trend on all of Twitter for that period of time.
Well, you know, it was really funny. I was in an airport in Richmond, Virginia, the year after we beat Michigan State, and you know, you got to stand in line waiting for them to call your zone, you know, for the plane and everything. And some guy turned around and he saw that I was wearing an MTSU name tag or lapel pin, and he said, "Do you work at Middle Tennessee State?" And I said, "Yeah, I do." And we started talking. He said, "You guys have a tremendous basketball program." I couldn't believe what you guys did against Michigan State. It was really, and it really just brought home the fact that this type of recognition, whether it's in athletics or academics,
That's right.
really goes a long way. You can't buy that type of publicity
can't.
and recognition. You just can't.
Well, I went to St. Louis. I was there for the next game after the Michigan State game. And, man, I wore my MTSU swag around town. I was a freaking celebrity. And they're like, MTSU! And we're like, yeah, I'm Jonathan. Nice to meet you. You know, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's so, you know, we're always looking for ways in which we can build the reputation, not just regionally but nationally. And you know, I've always felt like in just about any endeavor, it's kind of an inside-out proposition, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, you work on the stuff internally, you build up, and then you can tell your story that much more persuasively on the outside. And you're right, we do some things that are different. I mean, one of the things that I heard a lot even before I came to MTSU, when I would interact with people in the business community, is, you know, I'd always ask them, well, how can we do better? How can we improve the quality of the graduates coming out of a business program? And, you know, it's really interesting. I mean, people almost never said anything about technical skills. They almost never said, yeah, they need to take another accounting course and they need more IT or they need more business analytics. They almost never say that. What they would say almost all the time was, if you want to do something, improve your graduates' soft skills.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Teach
you know,
them how to answer a freaking phone.
Well, you know,
I mean, seriously.
well, I mean, and soft skills, you know, it encompasses a lot of things, and that's one of them.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, really, what it comes down to is that what they're saying is we want people who can write and think and speak. We want people who can work in teams. We want people who can build and maintain relationships with real people, one-on-one, beyond what is possible with a smartphone or a tablet or, you know, something like that.
Sure.
You know?
There's only one way to do that,
Well,
and that's experience.
well, yeah.
And just do it, practice it.
Well, you have to, yeah. And so one of the things we did when we came here was, you know, when I was about 31 years old, I was a professor at Georgia State in Atlanta. That was my first job coming out of graduate school. And I took the Dale Carnegie course in human relations and communication. I really didn't know why. I just had heard about it and thought, okay, well, I'll do this. I paid for it out of my own pocket. And it was just a real game changer for me. You know, learning the human relations principles, having to get up on my feet and be accountable for putting those principles into practice and to talk about it. It was really, really interesting. And I remember thinking to myself at the time, if I had had this when I was 21 instead of 31, those 10 years between 21 and 31 would have been a lot better. Not that they were bad, but they would have been a lot better because I would have understood people a lot better, and I would have been able to relate to people a lot better. And so I thought to myself at the time, it seems to me that if I ever have an opportunity to shape a business curriculum in a business school, maybe we could find a way to build the Dale Carnegie course into the curriculum. And so when I got here 8 years ago, one of the first people I met was Alan Walker, who is the franchise owner for Dale Carnegie Worldwide here in Tennessee. And we started talking about how we could bring that program into my program in Jones College. And then we started thinking, well, what if we really pushed the envelope? Instead of maybe offering a couple of sections during the year, what if everybody had to take it, particularly at the undergraduate level? What if everybody had to take it? What if it were a required course? How would that look? And what would it take? And so he had to run that idea up the flagpole in the entire Dale Carnegie organization. And I had to do the same thing within MTSU, all the different curriculum approvals and things like that. And so we finally got to the point where we could plug the Dale Carnegie course into our undergraduate curriculum as a required course. We're the only business school in the country that does this, even though there have been a lot of business deans that have called me and said, how did you guys do that? But nobody has yet duplicated it. And I can tell you, I'm a trainer. I'm a certified Dale Carnegie trainer. So I teach the course every semester.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to enroll in MTSU.
I know, right? Yeah, we'll go back and take that class.
And I'm telling you what, I could sit here for an hour and tell you stories about the transformative impact that course has had on people. And, one of the things that really is one of the most valuable sort of side benefits is that, we have a very diverse student body at MTSU. We have people from all over the place, all different demographic groups, all geographic groups.
Literally around the world.
Oh, yeah.
A huge international population.
And one of the things that's really gratifying about the Dale Carnegie course is that it forces the students in that class to interact with each other, regardless of how different they are from each other.
And that can be fun and exciting.
Well, it's really neat, because people start realizing that, they're not really that different. They have a lot of the same issues, concerns,
hopes and dreams.
Yeah. And so whenever people ask me, well, what are you guys doing, to promote diversity? Well, I tell them about what we do in the Dale Carnegie course.
Sure.
And I tell my students at the beginning of the semester, I said, look, you are going to know everybody's first and last name. You are going to know a lot about everybody in this class by the time it's over. Trust me. And their students are going, yeah, right,
Well, they're probably just picturing a bunch of icebreaker things like, the scavenger hunts and all that stuff that you do at the beginning of every class.
Yeah, but they have to get up there and really interact. And I saw it with my son, because my son took the class when he was at MTSU, and I saw the change in him. And what's interesting is that he graduated 4 years ago. He's in a management position now, and he still utilizes the principles, the human relations principles that he learned during the Dale Carnegie course. And, there aren't a lot of college classes where you remember a lot, after they're over, right?
Yeah.
It's been great. And I have a cadre of faculty and staff members who've gone through the certification process to become trainers. And so we're excited about the fact that we're going to be back teaching some in-person classes, keeping our fingers crossed about the Delta variant. But, I've taught that class remote, via remote learning over the year, and it's just not the same. And I think, a lot of us are just kind of chomping at the bit to get back in there and interacting with the students in person.
One of the things that I have noticed, and and it was always this way even when I was a student there, but it seems like it has gotten even more so, is the cross relationships amongst the different colleges there. So one of the things that MTSU, and especially Jones College and maybe the science department or basic and applied sciences, all those guys, there's a lot of cooperation from one college to the other, and so more people within the university get exposed to, I took this one business class, or I have a minor in this, or whatever.
Right.
And because of that, there's a lot of opportunities for the business students to learn about agriculture or music or fill in the blank. Yeah. And I love that, because the whole point of a university education is not to learn one trade. It is to elevate yourself to the point where you can function in an assortment of roles. Right. And I feel like you guys have done that, and it has to be purposeful, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that's happening in education in general is that a lot of those old traditional discipline-based silos are going away. Mm-hmm. And people are talking to each other, coming up with creative programs. I mean, we've got a program in data science now, which really involves the College of Basic and Applied Sciences and my college. We've got an MBA concentration in music business that we work with our College of Media and Entertainment on. We've got another cross-disciplinary MBA concentration in healthcare management. I mean, a lot of it really comes down to identifying the market opportunity and then seeing how we can marshal the resources in different areas, and how we can come up with something that really, really fits the needs of the market well, regardless of where the actual home base of the program is.
That's right. Is it a territory thing? Is that where the tradition comes in? Is that this is my student, College of Business student, or this is my, it's a numbers.
Yeah, there's some of that, and I think that when I look back at like traditional, and I think doctoral programs are a really good example of this. Doctoral programs used to be almost entirely discipline driven, and now you're seeing more cross-disciplinary doctoral programs, because it's not enough just to have a really deep dive in one area. You have to have some versatility. You have to have some.
Well, that deep dive is only good if you can use it.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest about that, right? I mean, if I can get a fermentation sciences degree and learn how to brew beer, but then if I can't run a brewery, did I really do anything useful?
Yeah, I mean, we don't have a medical school at MTSU. We do have a relationship with Meharry Medical College, but I've had a lot of healthcare providers in my life, whether they are physicians, dentists, whatever. And one of the things I've heard a lot from those people, especially those people who are running their own business, their own shop, is I got great scientific training, but what I really wish I had was the management training.
Yeah, how do I even look at my books? How do I know my accountant's not ripping me off?
Yeah, well, yeah. And so it's so there's some cross fertilization now that there probably wasn't all that many years ago. So and MTSU, I think, has an atmosphere in which a lot of these things take place at the dean's level, and we've always had, even though the roster of deans is dramatically different today than it was when I started 8 years ago. One of the things that's been a constant is that the deans do communicate with each other. And in fact, I've got a meeting at 10 o'clock this morning with one of the other deans about another sort of cross-disciplinary program that she wants to explore with me. So, there's that communication, that desire to serve the public good. I think that is kind of a hallmark of MTSU.
Well, and that falls from the top, right? I mean, that's a President McPhee fostering that type of an environment on campus as well.
Yeah, and you know, he, I think he has the skill to know, like good leaders do, when to be hands-on and when to be hands-off. Mm-hmm. And you know, I feel that he has he's given me a lot of latitude, you know, to do things, and you know, I think that's been helpful. It's you know, it's kind of like you know, if you want to be entrepreneurial, you know, it means that you're willing to take intelligent risks, right? Mm-hmm. In the hope of some kind of reward, whether it's intrinsic or financial or whatever.
I like how you threw intelligent in there, risk for the entrepreneurial. So
yeah.
sometimes not always the best.
Not happy.
But we, but I think you know, if people feel that they don't have the latitude to be able to take initiative and be entrepreneurial, then after a while they start putting blinders on, and they say, well, I'm just going to focus on the stuff that's right in front of me. I'm not going to worry about, you know, looking beyond that. And I think that's very dangerous in an organization. So fortunately, we don't have that kind of situation at MTSU, I don't think. I mean, it's been the kind of place, when I was looking at this job 8 years ago, the university employed an executive search consultant to build the applicant pool for the dean's job. And when it came down to the point where it looked like I was going to be offered the job, and I was talking with the search consultant, and he said, well, you know, there are a lot of different places you can go and a lot of different situations you could find yourself in. He said, but if you're the kind of person who wants to build something, this is really fertile ground for you if
That's
you want
awesome.
to do that. And then and
That says a lot.
and that's been the way it is. I mean, it has definitely been that way for me.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's you were talking about the right environment for that stuff to happen. You know, if you're like me, you know, like you, John, all of us, Trent, all of us, when we sit down and we start talking about how the business is going, you know, it's instant, like, oh, we could do this, or we could do that, or we could do this, and we could do that. And I think that's a human thing. I think people just do that naturally. How do we improve whatever we're doing and get more satisfaction out of our job? But if you're constantly beat down and said, no, we're just going to do it the way that we always did it, then you stop dreaming, right. You know, and then you just focus on the things that get you through the day. And that's not a good environment for anybody.
No, it's not. And, you know, we're always cognizant of, you know, sort of the broader issues that we're going to have to contend with. There's some very interesting demographic and sociological trends going on out there right now in the broader environment that are really going to impact higher education in a big way. Now, certainly COVID has done that already, kind of given us a preview of some of that kind of stuff. But, you know, there are some things coming down the road that are going to come to fruition in about the next 5 years that are really going to be challenging, you know, for higher education, and it's going to require us to be even more innovative and more competitive and more proactive in dealing with those things. So a lot of what I'm looking at right now is what's the environment going to be like 5 years from now. Mm-hmm. You know, we just, as an example, we are going to face in this country in about 5 years something that we refer to in higher education as the enrollment cliff. And what I mean by that is that the birth rate took a tumble going back to about 2008. And if you remember, big recession, people got scared, stopped having kids as much. And so what's going to happen, if you add 18 years to 2008, you get to 2026. And what will happen is that there will be a dramatic drop in the number of prime 18-year-olds hitting colleges and universities in about 2026. And it's going to take several years to kind of recover from that. So, if you're in higher education and you're not looking at that and saying, okay, what's my risk management plan for that? How are we going to contend with that? Then you're really walking a tightrope if you're not looking at that right now. So that's one of the things that we're doing at MTSU, and actually, COVID actually accelerated that process a little bit, because we've had there are people who got scared of going to college because they didn't know how COVID was going to turn out, and so I think people are looking at that and saying, all right, well, how are we going to be able to deal with that eventuality? It's going to affect some schools more than others, but we're certainly looking at it.
The first thing that came to mind for me is non-traditional students.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely, yeah.
And MTSU is already doing a ton for non-traditional. We had Dr. Hillary Miller on with the Veterans Center there, and so anybody that falls into that, whether they're coming back for an MBA or they're coming back for whatever, and MTSU is already doing that, so that'll be a lifeblood for you guys.
Yeah, and I think that's certainly one of them. Not the non-traditional student, the lifelong learning type situation where maybe
I'm going to go take the Dale Carnegie class in 2026.
There you go.
That's what's going to happen.
There you go. So it's like you start thinking about. In fact, even our accrediting body in the new accreditation standards wants to see evidence of business schools really generating lifelong learning opportunities. Non-traditional students, certainly part of that. And that is one defense when it comes to this enrollment cliff, because you're not going to be able to rely on that constant stream of 18 to 22-year-olds, perhaps like you did in the last many years. So you're going to have to reach out to different populations. And I think that's it's going to be challenging, but the good news for us is that we are really fortunate in that we have tremendous geographic positioning. Mm-hmm. I mean, for a variety of different reasons. I mean, we're in one of the best areas to live and work in this country. Everybody knows it. What did I see the other day that you might be interested in this, being in real estate. I saw a ranking the other day that said, interesting, they had a ranking of all these different cities in terms of how attractive they were to first-time home buyers, and Nashville was number 1 and Murfreesboro was number 5 in the country. So, always, it's a great place for people who are young. It's also a great place for people who are older as a place to retire, because
healthcare mecca,
the healthcare, the favorable tax structure, all of that stuff. So we're really lucky to be in that type of environment. I've got friends of mine in the industrial north where there's just a population drain going on right now, and it's a much different type of environment. So we get some insulation from that, but we still have to take advantage of the opportunities, because especially with things like online education, there are other universities that are located, a few hours from here, that are very much attracted to what's going on in the greater Nashville region. So we have to keep our guard up and make sure that we can maintain our competitive stature.
Well, and I've always looked better in blue than orange, so I'm just saying. But
blue brings out your eyes.
It does. It really does. He didn't say it. I said it, so it's okay, right? But so, all right, I want to shift gears a little bit. So John has, of course, Murfreesboro.com, and we do a lot of stuff with Murfreesboro.com, just talking about local businesses and things like that. And so I kind of want to do a little quick. He has no idea that I'm doing this, by the way. A quick the dean's favorites. So some accreditation from the dean for some local businesses here.
There you go.
So I'm putting you on the spot.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, don't you have one yourself here?
Wowee. Well, you know,
I was going to shameless plug, but
That's right. Yeah, tell us about your business first. You and your wife's endeavor.
yeah. Well, my wife runs a business called Urban Expert Services, and it's really sort of a self-marketing type business. She, when asked, she always talks about the fact that she helps people tell their stories. And sometimes that's somebody needs help with a resume. Maybe sometimes it's somebody who needs help with a personal statement. Maybe somebody wants an article written that could be in a local publication or something. She does all of that kind of stuff. And, she has a background in marketing and public relations. And she has worked with people who are just starting out. She's also worked with C-suite executives. So she runs the gamut, but she's very good at what she does, and she really doesn't advertise or anything like that. She's on LinkedIn and all that, but she just operates. It's almost like almost 100% referral, and
That's the way to do it, man. If you can get to that point.
So she's done quite well with that, and it's a. She can do as much of it as she wants or as little of it as she wants, and
I love that.
That's really it's really been good, and so she does. So that's probably my favorite business, local business.
What's your favorite restaurant?
Oh, gee,
I'm gonna break that up. What's your favorite restaurant when you have less than an hour?
oh, there you go. Okay,
less than an hour.
in and out.
Yep.
In and out. Probably, well, I'll tell you where I end up going a lot of the time is it's one of two.
Okay.
It's either the Boulevard Grill,
Sure.
which
It's
is
very convenient.
which we refer to as the MTSU Faculty Club, by the way, and, or the Alley on Main.
You gotta love that.
There you go. Allie always comes up.
You
There you
know,
go.
I mean, and
I feel like they're two sides of the same coin.
Right.
Different, obviously, but it's like you can go to the Boulevard, you can go to the Alley.
yeah, those are the two that pop when I have less than an hour.
All right, and then if you're gonna keep your suit on and not change into a t-shirt, where are you going?
Probably 5 Senses.
Yeah.
And that's
There you
what,
go.
in fact, these guys who are coming in from out of town to help facilitate the business retreat that we're having tomorrow. I'm picking them up this afternoon late, and that's where we're going.
I love it.
There you go.
It's and it's
It's an institution. I mean, Mitchell has just done a phenomenal
Done a
job
great
for
job over there.
years over there.
I'm somebody who really likes locally owned businesses, and particularly restaurants. I like to get away from the chains when I can, right? And one of the things I like about 5 Senses is that the menu is interesting. The portions are not huge. There are local ingredients, sort of farm to table type stuff.
Purposefully.
It
I mean,
just
seeks it out.
and it fits the bill for me.
Well, and let's be honest, he runs a pretty good bar too.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Yes.
All right. What about a retail store that if you're just looking for that right thing for someone?
Oh yeah, I can easy peasy. The Peddler.
Yeah.
Oh, the pet. Okay.
Peddler.
I like the Peddler.
Over there in that shopping center on Northfield and Broad, and Kathy Jones and her daughter own that store now. But I am telling you, the Peddler has bailed me out many times.
There you go.
And I mean, I've never gone in there and not found the perfect thing. So it's really I love that store.
Well, and John Murphy is a gift wrapping genius, so he makes me look good when I walk out of there.
I did this myself. Look at this thing. It looks wonderful.
Yeah, I the nice thing about going there is that they do gift wrap. They do a great job, so I don't have to resort to the the many different Amazon gift bags that I have accumulated over time.
That's totally what I do too.
I know exactly what you mean. Yes.
This has been great in this bag. There you go.
Stick some tissues in it.
Yeah.
And call it good.
Exactly. Fluff it up a little. You're good to go.
No, gift wrapping has never been a strong suit for me.
No, me neither.
Love that store.
What about in our area, and it doesn't necessarily have to be in Murfreesboro, but just a business that is, it's so innovative or so different that you kind of look at it, this is me, I look at it and go, oh my gosh, why didn't I think of that?
Boy. Well,
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Besides the ones at this table.
That's right.
Yeah.
Trying to make Trent laugh over there. There you go. I got him. All right.
So different, so innovative. You know what? What's interesting to me, and it's really not a business, but it has to act like a business. I love the some of the stuff in Nashville, like the Country Music Hall of Fame. I love that place. I mean, because every time I go there, there's something different. They've got something else going on. I never get tired of it. And it just tells such a great story, is such a it's kind of like a beacon, I think, for the entire region. I really like that. The other thing that amazes me about this area is the personal services here. Okay, and it could be lawn service, it could be household cleaning services, it could be the tree service, it could be, anything, the irrigation people. One of the things that we noticed when we moved here was how affordable those things are compared to where we were before. And I guess, the other thing, and I'll say this about Murfreesboro, and the businesses in Murfreesboro. When we came here 8 years ago, we lived in Virginia, in Richmond, Virginia, and we had lived there for a long time. My wife was born and raised there. But when we came here, after we had been here about a month, 6 weeks, I came home one day and I said something to my wife. I said, Gina, do you realize, I said, have you had this experience? I said, it seems like every time I go into a business and I tell them that we just moved here, the instant reaction is, welcome to Murfreesboro. We're happy that you're here. And I thought to myself, have you noticed that? And she said, yeah. She said, and I said, where we were before kind of seems a little stiff compared to.
Well, 75% of them were telling you the truth, that they were happy you were here. The other 25% were good liars. So,
I think there is a lot to be said for just the ease with which people can assimilate into the broader community here. And the businesses, the local businesses, I think, do a great job of making people from the outside feel welcome. And so it makes you want to do business.
For sure. Well, Dean, we're running short here. And John, you didn't hardly participate.
No, actually, I was enjoying listening. So, well, that and I know we didn't get into it, but I was reading up on more about you yesterday and this morning, and you have quite the laundry list of I'll just say things you've done and accolades. There you go. But I mean, I would love to have you today. That's why I was just listening to you talk. So it's just the things you've done and everything. It's you've lived quite an amazing life, it sounds like. So
I want to learn more about the customer satisfaction stuff. That was one of the things I read in your bio that was that sounds pretty fascinating.
Yeah,
so.
we've done a lot of research in that area, and really, to me, that's the name of the game. You don't want to just satisfy customers. You want them to be pleased, and you want them to come back. Mm-hmm. And in a turbulent economic environment, that type of stability in your customer base is worth its weight in gold.
That's right. Mm-hmm. Well, maybe we'll cover that on a different day.
We can, for sure. Yes, thank you very much.
Dean, thank you so much for being here.
Yes,
and
thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here, like in Murfreesboro and at MTSU. You had a lot of choices, and I think you picked well. So
Well, we're in it for the long haul. So it's been a great 8 years, and I'm looking forward to several more.
outstanding.
Well, again, thank you for your time. We really appreciate you coming.
Yes, sir.
And again, sorry to cut you short. We know you got a lot of stuff to do, but thanks for coming.
Okay, I appreciate
Until the next one, we'll see y'all guys.
See ya.